Welcome back to the Discord Mead series. We're in episode or number 9, and this whole series is catered around the idea of me relinquishing any control of recipe development and giving it to my Discord. Specifically, we always give the power to one person to do this. So in this circumstance, Drew's here, also known as Rizik on the Discord, if you're someone who's on the Discord, has curated and kind of collaborated with the Discord to create a coffee mead. Now, I hadn't done, prior to this, I had not done a coffee mead, so this was an exciting one. And my first question to you, Drews, is what made you go coffee? What's the intent here?
Oh, well, because I'm a coffee drinker, so I'm in IT and I drink a lot of coffee, and so I like the taste. And yeah, I did one coffee meet before and liked where it was going, so I was thinking that might be fun with more people.
Yeah. Well, and it is fun. I agree. Coffee meads are really fun. And for a long time, I don't want to say I was against them, but I was like, how can coffee be made into good mead? And then I had a couple good ones from commercial meaderies, and then from my buddy BC, and I think I kind of got my world flipped over to trying it. And so this one's really fun. We're going to walk through the process real fast and walk through the recipe card so that everyone who's interested can try this as well. This one includes, of course, coffee, and we added vanilla, and there's an extra component of lactose. That is, you could forgo the lactose if you would like to do that. But the recipe card, as people are seeing on screen, for a 1 gallon batch, and I'm going to say gallon, and I will include the metric as well, because obviously not everybody's in America. Clearly, Druce is in Germany, if you're unaware, so this is kind of fun to do something on an international level. We've got our recipe cards, as you see on screen, a little less than 3 pounds of honey, water up to a gallon, about 5 ounces of whole beans, and we'll talk about that in a second. I had an extra note that we'll talk about with the amount of beans and exposure time to the mead. A clean fermenting yeast, stuff like DB10, USO5, EC1118. I chose USO5. 1 vanilla bean or vanilla extract, and lactose. We also bochetted this honey to add that extra caramely kind of toffee kind of note to this thing. And so this all starts with, of course, honey. You're going to get your honey, you're going to bochet it. Now there's something cool that they did here in this recipe card. I'll put a little screenshot of it. We have polled all the people on the best ways to bochet honey. And we have got a bunch of bochet pros in the Discord, I would say. And we have instructions on how to do it best on electric stove versus a fire versus a slow cooker. So depending on what you do, you can kind of see these instructions here. But we bochetted our honey. At that point, we pitched our yeast and mixed with water and all those things and let it get going. My starting gravity was 1.080. What was yours, if you don't mind me asking?
I was at 1.089.
Okay, great. So yours is a little
So,
stronger. That's totally okay. Regardless, you're probably going to shoot, if you're making this recipe, between 1.075 and I'd say 1.090, depending on what you're doing there. But somewhere in that range, pitch your yeast in, and we let it start fermenting. Mine was roughly about 2 to 3 weeks of fermentation time. And we noticed, of course, the natural things where it cleared up, the yeast went to the bottom, and we racked it into a new container. Now, all of the extra flavors and variables that we're adding are happening post-fermentation. So after the primary fermentation was done, we stabilized it so we could back sweeten in the future. And then we went ahead and added our coffee. Now, I went ahead and did what you asked and put 5 ounces into the 1 gallon batch. And I taste tested this thing probably 2 or 3 times a day. Because I was like, I'm a little worried the coffee's going to be moved super fast. And it did at the rate that we put it in, which is totally fine. The exposure for the coffee beans for me was only like 36 hours or something short like that. Because it got to the point where I was like, it's there. I got to pull them out and back it off. So alternatively, if you were somebody who could not taste test your stuff regularly, then maybe dial back to like 2 ounces or something, and then you could let it set for a little longer. Did you have any experience like that with your amount of coffee exposure time?
Well, I was going for 24 hours too, but yeah, but the mead I did before was like all cold brew coffee in the beginning. So
Oh,
yeah, no experience, but I had to pull it after 24 hours because of vacation and stuff.
yeah.
So
But did you notice you got
I
enough
was
flavor?
hoping it was enough.
Yeah. Did you get enough flavor in that 24-hour point, you feel like?
Oh yeah, I did. I actually was worried because I thought I was having too much extraction, so it was rather dark and strong, but it tuned back a little.
Good.
So
Yeah, I felt that way. I was like, oh my gosh. So, anyways, that realm, if you do this, make sure you are just taste testing it to figure out what your timing is. Pull the vanilla beans off or out. And then we add our other flavors, our vanilla bean or extract. I did extract just to taste. We also added some honey. I didn't do bochet honey for my back sweetening. Probably should have in hindsight. Did you use bochet honey for back sweetening?
no, but I think we agreed on using regular honey.
Okay, okay,
So in
great.
the recipe.
So it back sweetened it, and I also added lactose to this. I don't know if you added lactose to yours, but that added or is adding some creaminess, maybe a smidge of sweetness as well in there. So I don't know if I took a final gravity reading. Shame on me if I didn't. Let's see if I did. Oh, I did. 1.024 final gravity on mine. Do you know what your final gravity was by chance?
Yeah, so I did both. So I started with 10-liter batch, so I could split it in half and do one with lactose and one with VG. And the lactose one is at 1.030, and the other one was 1.026.
Okay, great. We're kind of roughly in the same realm. That's great. Perfect. So back sweetened, we got lactose, we got vanilla, we have our coffee, of course, and this big old bochet. I got my bottle here, and I would love in a moment I want to start with yours. I want you to open up yours and give us a couple tasting notes. It's cool. You said you did 2 different versions, so that's kind of fun as well to split it out. I enjoy getting to add that variable in. So would you mind opening yours up, pouring a smidge of it, and then
Yeah,
giving some notes?
yeah. So this is the lactose one.
Uh-huh.
Because that I already had one of both, and I think the lactose one has more like milk flavor. So we were going for this yeah, vanilla latte kind of flavor, and so it's better. But I like both. I just think that this lactose one is a little bit creamier,
Right.
I think. So
Oh yeah.
so
Ours look about the same color, kind of. At least from a camera point of view, they look similar color.
okay, I couldn't see yours
Oh
right
yeah,
now
yeah. I
because
guess I
it's
got
in
a clear
the
bottle.
brown
You'll have to
bottle.
in a second. You'll have to hold them up side by side.
So yeah, beautiful color, I think. And quite some coffee on the nose. So it's not as much as I feared I would have, but there's some on the nose.
Uh huh.
No vanilla, sadly. I don't smell any. It got smoother with time.
Yeah. So mine is I gotta do some math here. 4 months old at this point. I don't know what the age is for yours currently.
Yeah, mine is the same age, but I back sweetened a little bit later. So um, I didn't have the time for this, and then I got sick twice. So I didn't really I wasn't able to taste test and see when to add what. So I delayed it a bit, but I think I started at roughly the same time.
So I couldn't handle not getting to try Drew's, so I flew over to Germany real fast. Came back with a bottle from him, so we had a great time hanging out, and he got that hand-delivered bottle right here. So let's taste test his after he just told us about it. Beautiful looking brew. Traveled back just fine. Ooh, very coffee forward, but it is like a cup of joe. The vanilla bean is definitely prominent. You get some rich honey character in there. Something earthy, real deep is probably the coffee he used. A little bit chocolatey. Oh, that's delightful. That coffee is so different than mine. It has like almost a cherry, like a dark cherry note alongside some chocolate. You get the vanilla sort of element. The honey itself is really interesting as well because that floral side is obviously different, so different from what I got here or what I used in mine. That is excellent. His is super, super good. Let's go taste mine now, and we'll talk about mine. Yeah, okay. Well, I do think this is some research, I guess, for coffee meads, because I feel like the flavor, like we talked about, so strong in the beginning. I am hopeful that that flavor will mellow and become a little more smooth because, yes, I want coffee mead to taste like coffee, but I don't want it to be like you're just chewing on a load of coffee beans, It's a little too much. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pour mine. It looks pretty good looking mead. Try to get out of the way of my camera. I got some little sediment at the bottom of mine. I guess I didn't rack it totally clear. Ooh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it got to pour.
I haven't had this
Slowly.
since I bottled it, which I feel like was maybe a month and a half or 2 months ago. So, what do you get on the nose? What's your nose telling you?
So it's a little bit less coffee than my version.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it seems to be a little bit more richness than my version. So
It could be those beans as well.
the color is.
Oh yeah. Is yours cold? Did you serve yours cold?
Yeah, I pulled it out of the fridge because it was sitting there for a few days.
Yeah. I definitely get some sort of deeper note in there with the coffee. It could, again, just be the beans, whatever beans I chose at the moment, which I don't remember. So let's try it.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. It's chocolatey. There's like maybe the beans I got were some sort of, I don't think I got anything that was like chocolate infused or anything like that, but it has a chocolatey note to it.
And quite a pleasant astringency, so it's good on the tannins. But did you add any? Any tannic?
That was on the recipe card. It was if needed, but I don't think I did. Nope. Not according to my notes. I have not added any tannin to this.
Made from the boiling process, because I used a sous vide cooker.
Oh, yeah. You definitely could pick up something from that. And it could be, the coffee, I feel like it's going to have its own tannin somewhat to it. So I wonder if that helped. Maybe the amount of coffee beans especially added to that tannic value. Whereas if we had dialed back and done for longer, maybe we would have got less tannin. I don't know. That's all theory crafting at this point. What do you pick up on? So we added lactose and vanilla. I feel like I get a lot of that vanilla, and maybe that the lactose is more so appearing in creaminess, not necessarily flavor. It's just kind of that tannin / bigger mouthfeel is what I'm getting from this.
Yeah, me too. So, yeah, mine is a little bit more. It's not that grippy, that tannin heavy. So there are other flavors, and you get a little bit more of this acidity from the lactose. I don't know if lactose really adds acidity, but it felt like it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Theoretically, lactose is supposed to add opposite, being creaminess and all those things. But, I don't know. That's kind of fun. This recipe is really fun, and I think you guys have done a great job curating it to be a great coffee mead. And it's something that, like, everybody at some point is like, I want to make a coffee mead. And I imagine everybody's done it a million ways as well. I've definitely done it a couple ways. I've tried the cold brew version. I've tried, a couple years ago, I tried ground coffee in like primary. I tried ground coffee in secondary, and I didn't really have good luck with those. But in my 2 experiences recently with whole coffee beans, I feel like whole coffee beans is the best way to get the coffee flavor. And it doesn't have to be like, I don't think you have to use a ton of coffee beans, but it does help when you use more because I think you get tannin, and then you also get just a quick flash flavor into it. But this recipe is really fun. Y'all have done a fantastic job. Is there anything that you would change on the recipe if you were to do it again?
Not on the recipe itself, but on my process. So I think on my version, I would have gone for a little bit longer exposure time on the coffee.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe 2 days, because now I know that it dials back a bit.
Yeah.
Um, and I think a little longer exposure on the coffee, on the vanilla bean, because I hardly get any from mine. So that was the time I couldn't smell or taste anything because
Oh, no.
uh, I had the flu, and so I pulled it after I think 7 days or something, and it was way too early.
Yeah.
So I tried to adjust a little bit with some homemade extract, but that didn't have the effect I hoped it would. So I would go longer on the vanilla and a little bit longer on the coffee.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little higher intensity on the coffee as well. So I was on the cautious side of coffee beans.
Right. Well, I definitely think that's important too. When you make a coffee mead, you want to make a cup of coffee or something with those beans to see if you even like them. If you're just doing some random bean you've never tried, you're going to get the flavor from it. I pick up a lot of chocolatey dark note from this coffee, and it could be just the combo of the coffee plus the bochet and the toffee / caramely note that's already in there because of the honey. So I could be seeing that, but get some quality coffee that you want to taste within this brew. But overall, super great. I wouldn't change a lot other than maybe only out of laziness, dial back the amount of coffee so that I could forget about it for 3 or 4 days and not have to put the timer on and go like, okay, I got to pull this out, only because that's a little stressful when you're like curating your life around the mead chores you have to do, and you're like, if I don't move this mead out and tomorrow by 6 o'clock I'm in trouble. So I would probably just dial back the coffee a smidge and then let it set longer, but it tastes great. Y'all have done a fantastic job, and I think it's super fun to see the Discord mead continue to like people design it and make it and get to share it. I wish I got to taste yours because I love getting to do the side-by-sides, but like I said, unfortunately it didn't work out. But hopefully it was a fun little experiment to see what ours tastes like and back to back. Drews, thank you for doing this. I mean, it's been a long process because the Discord Mead series is one that takes time. Takes effort in curating between a lot of people and the community, and so I appreciate your time and effort in this, and I hope that you will continue to make some mead, and maybe we continue to tweak this recipe or do whatever we want, but I'm going to make sure and put up the recipe card as it stands, as it started with, for anyone who's interested. This is a fantastic coffee mead if you want to make one. I don't know for sure. The only question mark I'm sure people will ask is, would this be the same or taste as good if it weren't a bochet? I think the bochet element really adds more complexity, and it helps to make that rich coffee flavor pop. You could definitely do this with a whatever kind of honey, unbochet, non-bochet, but I think you're going to get a different flavor component. So people can also try that and let me know. Leave it down in the comments and say, hey, I tried this and it worked out, or hey, I tried it and it was not good. Make sure to bochet your stuff. So I don't know. So thank you for your time. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So if you want to catch Drews in the Discord, he's under Rizik, and we get to chat a lot, and so it's fun. Again, the international mead world is super cool. It's easy for me to get caught up and think, oh, mead is only happening right now in the States, and that's definitely not true. I think you guys are making probably way better mead than me right now, so it's really fun to get to share this stuff, and hopefully I'm living up to some small expectation for what's happening here in the States. So thank you for your time, man.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we will catch everyone in the Discord.